Spontaneous speaking video 92. Alright, what's up everyone? I've not done a spontaneous speaking video in a while, but here I am in the middle of classes. I actually got out a little bit early, and I wanted to make this video something that I had been putting into practice for the past couple of years, but I'm getting better at gardening now. If you'd allow me to elaborate on that right now, which is essentially at the beginning of the year, I posted a video, 5 tips, at least for myself, for the new year that I thought that I'd share with anybody who's interested in checking it out. And it's not too late to go and check it out anyway if you want, because you can still apply them throughout the whole year, you know what I mean? But one of them was essentially to distribute your energy proportionally and appropriately. And I've been seeing myself do that a lot more frequently now, and a lot more consistently. And I think that it all goes down to seeing just about everything as seeds, and yourself as a pail of water. So if I only have a certain amount of water in me, then how am I supposed to water a whole, I don't know, like a humongous garden? Like I have to portion what seeds I'm going to be focusing on, because if I distribute myself way too much, then I'm going to distribute myself way too thin. And in doing that, nothing is going to actually get as much attention as it needs to. Every seed will end up getting watered, but it won't get enough water. And so what I have now focused on doing, or I've been focusing more on doing, is trying to decide how I want my garden to look like. So when I say garden, I mean like, my relationships with people, my group of friends, like what is my ideal, my personal. Everybody's garden is going to look different. Some people want friends who are just gonna laugh, be wild, and like have fun, go get drunk with, stuff like that. Some people want friends that they're gonna be just making a whole bunch of music with, and that's not to say there's not gonna be like overlap, you know what I mean? But like there's a certain type of group, certain type of squad that you kind of want to build yourself around, a certain type of community, if you will. And for me, I had to focus on how I want my garden to look like, how I want the community that I'd like to surround myself in to look like, what types of things we'd talk about, what types of things we'd be doing together, how often we'd speak, etc. And after creating that vision, now after you've decided how you want your ideal garden to look like, you have to start making sure that every single seed that you choose is going to fit that garden properly. Because if you pick a seed that's going to end up throwing off the garden, then, well, you've now thrown off the garden, and so once you pick that seed, then you also have to know, with seeds, every seed has potential, but the potential that's in that seed may not be exactly what you're looking for. And so a lot of people, I made another video on toxic relationships, because a lot of people are obsessed with using that word toxic now. And in that video, I pretty much, just like all of my videos, I'm not the type of person to make you be like, yeah, there are people in your life that they're not going to like you, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that. I feel like there's enough people out in the world who are probably coddling you guys and making you think, yeah, these people out there really are this, they really are that. On my page, on my channel, I actually encourage us to always look introspectively. That's not to say that we are never the victim of things, but I think that it's always healthy to at least look at ourselves first and make sure that in the other person's narrative, they are not also seeing themselves as the victim. So we can only help what we can do, kind of thing. And so all of that being said, in that video about the toxic relationships, I was trying to get people to understand how maybe a lot of times it's not even the other person that's toxic, but rather we are the ones that are toxic, or neither of us are toxic. We just, in and of itself, that dynamic, that line between us is not exactly what we want. Some people are better off as friends and as significant romantic partners, and that doesn't make them toxic people. That just means that they got with the wrong person, kind of thing. And so in that sense, if you're speaking of toxic relationship as opposed to a toxic person, I see that there's a difference over there. But all that being said, you have to know what kind of seed that you are looking for, because and in order to know what kind of seed that you're looking for, you have to know what type of garden that you have, and the potential in that seed might not be what you want for your garden. So you have to really have that step one down of knowing what garden that you want to have. And once you know what type of garden that you want to have, and you start, looking for the seeds that you think will fit well in your garden, then you can now understand how much energy you have, how much water that you have to be able to sprinkle to these seeds. And you have to be able to also understand, like, how big do you want your garden to be? And that depends on how much water you have. That depends on how much energy you have. In order for that photosynthesis to happen, plants have to be watered daily. They have to be given a certain amount of attention often. You know what I mean? And then of course there are plants that can go a while off of the stored water. Like cacti. So if we're getting like really metaphorical in this analogy, then yeah, we can go with stuff like that. There are friends, like I have a few friends actually who we can go weeks, months without talking, and that's fine. But then there are also certain friends that's like, okay, but you are a specific flower that I'd personally like to keep in constant connection with. Does this mean I like this friend more? Not necessarily. That just means that this is the type of dynamic that we have, and I'd like to speak more frequently due to certain situations, or, whatever. We're still establishing certain things. I don't know. All of it is different, but at the end of the day, it's just all depends on you as the individual to know what type of garden that you want, and then that'll help you understand what type of seed that you should be looking for, the potential in that seed, and then understanding how much water that you have to be able to water all of these seeds. Because when you are committing to a seed, then you are also committing to helping raise that seed, and you have to understand, again, when you're spreading yourself too thin. Don't commit to something that you don't have the energy for. So always check back in with your energy level. Hey, can I handle this new friendship? That doesn't, and sometimes you might have to say no. Sometimes you already have enough that you're already working on, and you have to build with what you have. And then sometimes you're like, yeah, I think I can handle that. And of course, each friendship is going to be different. Some are more intense than others. Some are more needy than others. Not in a bad way, but they just require more attention. And if you can't afford to have that, when your energy will not allow for that, then don't go after it. Because once you commit to that and then you kind of like cut it off, then that's hurtful. That might hurt somebody else. So always be aware of that energy that you have within yourself. And then lastly, finally understand how much water to give each seed and how frequently you'll be doing that. So all of that being said, with my water, with my energy, I have become extremely picky about it, in the sense that everything that I do in life now has to do with energy exchange. I have become so particular with my energy because life has kind of forced me to, like the way that life is right now, now finishing my last semester in college after taking a few years off, and still working full time, and also still coaching, and then also still trying to like raise my brand up a little bit, while the time's here, and then so many other things, like just in life in general, like all of these things require a lot of time, a lot of my energy. And so if I just continue to toss it around everywhere, especially watering seeds that don't, in my opinion, deserve to be watered, then like why would I go ahead and do that? Like why would I invest that time, that expensive time, that expensive energy that I could have been putting into something else that would be more of an investment, that would be more rewarding to me at the end of the day? Why would I spend that time doing that? And so I believe that this is incredibly helpful for whoever it may be, because relationships are very important, and the most important relationships are the ones that you have invested in and will give back to you. in whatever way that might mean to you. And catering properly to your garden is just extremely helpful. And so, yeah, that's essentially what I wanted to share with you guys today. This tip on how to better manage your friend circles, and how to better prioritize your energy level, and how to just a cool way to think about your energy distribution, and if you start seeing things in this way, I feel like that'll help a lot. I was talking to an ESTP at my job, and he was talking about, like, like how he kind of like, I don't want to give away too much of his business, or any of his business at that matter, but just for like example's sake, he talks about like how like he's had a problem with like distributing his energy. And when I started telling him about exactly what I'm telling y'all, like one of the things that I said to him was like, I know this is like sounding like gruesome, but can you imagine impregnating several women, and now they're all about to have children, and you don't need, like, some of these mothers are bad, as in like they will not be a good mother to your child, so that child will now need more attention from you. Others of these mothers will be pretty great, but it's you who will not be able to give that child enough attention. Like, your attention is just way too distributed, and it's all because you weren't careful with where you were putting your seed. You weren't intentional with it. You were just kind of spraying it everywhere. Again, I'm sorry if that's a little bit too graphic, but that's the example that I gave. And he was just like, "Dang, Denzel, like that's, yeah, that'd be really crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah." So you have to be able to understand where that seed is going. You have to be able to know what's going to happen from each exchange of energy, and both to yourself and to the other person. And in that analogy, of course, the mother would be the other person that you are now in that dynamic with, whether romantically or platonically. And then that child would now be your relationship with that person. And if you don't feel like you can commit to that child, and or if you feel like that mother is not going to be a good enough mother for that child, then don't bring that child into the world. And just coming to mind now, I know we have things like birth control, like with condoms and everything, and like I just toy with analogies in my head, so I don't even know where I'm gonna really go with this. But like, if people are talking about like, oh, like, let me just still engage with this, but then probably like nothing will come out of this, like no baby will be born. We're using protection, so I'm not gonna have this child with the person. I wonder what that would be. Like, I feel like either way that would still be dangerous, playing on dangerous territory, because there's always still going to be a risk involved. And just to be honest, like, why spend time on that when you can have the real thing? I don't know. That's just how I see it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop there for now. I'll probably toy more around with that analogy in my head on my own time. But in the meantime, that's what I have for you guys. Just wanted to share that with you, for anyone who's interested. Let me know what you guys think about that. Be sure to leave comments, questions, concerns, and manage your energy effectively, yo. Done.